Hello, my squishies. It is Friday. It is 6 o'clock. It is felting time. While everybody is joining us, that's going to join us live, I will give you guys that are new here a brief introduction to needle felting and what goes on here. So over the next hour or so, we're going to needle felt hopefully this picture. I do these live and just leave them up so that you can follow along afterwards. So I will be chatting to people that are in the comments. If you want to see what who I'm talking to in the comments, you can look below in the live chat replay and you can see that I'm not just talking to myself. We also have a Peanut, who is the shop dog, sitting underneath the table just now, sleeping just now, but she may wake up. If she does, I'll pop her on camera. Oh, people are in already. Let's see what everyone's saying. Hello. Yep, say hello in the comments if you're in and if you can hear me and sound is all good. Sounds fine. Excellent. That is my wonderful moderator, Mum and Dad, there in the comments, making sure everything is going according to plan. Which reminds me, so if you're doing the kits after the fact, so not just now, but afterwards, you're welcome to pause me at any time, rewind, fast forward, slow me down, speed me up, all good. You're also welcome to mute me if you don't want to hear the nonsense that's about to go on, because I do somewhat ramble nonsense, and already there's 2 nonsense makers in the chat that I see, so it's it's always interesting where our conversations end up on a Friday night. Okay, so for those of you that have not felted before and got the kit from my website, in your kit you'll have a foam mat. This is what we felt onto. It protects surfaces and it makes needle felting a lot easier. So that's just this mat under here. So I'm felting onto that. The fabric that we are making the picture on is Shetland pre-felt, and it should have the drawing on it for you. So this is wool that's been washed and then just gently felted, but is ready to be felted more, essentially, is the easiest way to describe it. So it's quite stretchy just now and you can move it about, but as we felt it, it'll get stronger and stronger. You've also got the frame, so I'll show you near the end how we use the frame. So I'll pop that somewhere safe just now. And you haven't been able to find me, Leslie. Oh no, I've been hiding in the shop. In winter I was hibernating. Nothing happened in the winter. Also in your kit you have a needle felting handle and needle felting needles. Now these are very sharp and they do sometimes break. So if they break, make sure you find all the little bits and dispose of them safely. I have an old plastic tub that I pop all the broken ones in and until that's full, and then bin it like a sharps container. And try very hard not to stab yourself. With flat felting that we're doing today, you're less likely to stab yourself, but there's still a considerable chance that stabbing will happen. So be aware of where your fingers are. I know it sounds obvious, but it's really not. And I may stab myself at any point during this next hour or so. Oh, and I'll show you how. So you don't have to use the holder. I tend not to use it because I alternate between a few needles at a time. But a lot of people absolutely adore the folders and use them all the time. So the way you work it is you've got a peg there. So you pull out the peg, grab your needle and put the needle in the wee groove that you'll see with the hook over the skinny end, and then pop that skinny end back into your needle holder, and that just means you've got a better grip on the needle. I'll do that again one more time. So you pull out the wee peg, pop the needle in the groove, and put the skinny end back in there, and then you're ready to stab away. You're not late, don't worry. I'm just doing the usually rambly nonsense intro. We have not started. This isn't what we've done in the last 3 minutes, don't worry. Don't panic. Okay, And then the last thing in your kit, I think, hopefully, is this. So this is roving, sometimes called tops. This is mostly in this one Shetland roving. It's been washed, it's come off the sheep, been washed, dyed, and then brushed, and then loosely formed into this rope kind of thing. And the way we work with this is you have your hands nice and far apart and you gently pull on one end, and you'll see this little amount comes out. So this length is the staple length of the wool. So that's essentially one hair's length. So when you're pulling this apart, if your hands are too close together, you're essentially pulling on the same bit of hair and it's not going to come apart. So you want to have your hands nice and far apart to pull out little bits. And if there's any twist in it, it's not going to come apart either, because twist is what makes yarn essentially. So if you put a little bit of twist in it, it's the magic of friction and forces is holding it together. If you make sure it's untwisted, your hands nice and far apart, and you can pull out just nice little bits. And so everybody felts differently, but with my felting, I like to do little layers. So I'll say this a lot, I apologize in advance, but like tiny, even this is quite a lot, tiny thin bits we're aiming to pull out. Okay, so are we ready to get felting? So hopefully by the end of today, we'll have something along the lines of this. This is a view looking, so I'm in Fort William in Scotland, the Highlands of Scotland, and this is up the Glen Nevis, which is Ben Nevis is obviously the highest mountain in the UK, and it is right behind Fort William essentially, and this is the glen just below Ben Nevis. This is one of my favourite walks to take the dog, and this is a place called Lower Falls. So there's actually a massive waterfall right there, just off view, but I just love this view, the path up and then the view up to the top of the glen. A couple of months ago we did Steel Falls, and Steel Falls is essentially just back there. So if you could see over this hill, that would be where Steel Falls is. What we're going to do this one today. Oh, and remind me, so my plan, my vague plan, my almost plan, is to actually start naming all the colours. So I put them in the comments in the description after the fact, but I want to name them as I'm using them. So try and remind me. If I stop doing it, basically shout at me is what I'm asking you guys to do. You have my full permission to shout at me in the comments. Okay, so I'll pop that there so that we can all see it. And let's get felting. Oh, one more very important bit. When you're felting, you want to go straight in and out. You don't want to bend the needle at all, because that's when you're more likely to stab it. To stab it? Nope, wrong words. Oh my god, it's Friday, you can tell. That's when you're more likely to break the needle. Okay, so we're going to start from the back and work our way forward, blocking in the colours, and then we're going to go back in afterwards and sort of solidify all the wee details. So we're going to work relatively fast getting all the colours in, and then go back in and add details and things like that. So I'm grabbing Dream Blue. This is also where I'm getting tested of all the names of all the colours. I can totally remember them. And I'm going to add that just a little. Now it doesn't matter if I go over the lines a little bit, because it's better to have it ever so slightly overlapping. But I definitely want to go over the outside lines. So I'm adding the little bit of Dream Blue in there. And in the comments, say how your week has been, what's been happening, anything exciting going on. And so now after the Dream, I'm taking a bit of the slightly darker blue. This is Wave. And I'm going to add that higher up. So the darker blue is on top, going down to the lighter blue. But as you can see here, I've done, let's see if I can show you. So there's a more substantial section there, and then it gets finer and finer as it goes down, but we are going to layer up, so don't worry too much. So I'm going to get a bit more of the dream and then layer that going up. So it's these tiny little layers, tiny layer of wave, that are going to create all the sort of interesting patterns. I'm going to take 2 of these at a time just now. All of the interesting patterns and sort of natural variations in the colour. And they do the hard work, essentially, layering up, so you don't have to. And I'm going to take some of the, I think this is going to be slivers. So these slivers are like the roving, but they're slightly more rustic. So I'm taking a tiny bit of the slivers and layering that just at the centre bottom of the sky. And then a couple of little wispy clouds. Oh, you're not on a mountain? I always picture you on the side of a mountain. So in my, that is canon. I'm on, well, we're on the side of a mountain just now. I've decided. I don't know, is that a mountain? What hills? I don't actually know what hills those two are. I should find out. I'll look at a map, or somebody can look at a map and see what the hills looking from Lower Falls are. Lower Falls is amazing when it's like fully in spate. It is just stunning. So I'm going to leave the sky like that. So you can see how quickly I just went over that, how lightly felted in. So if at this moment in time I wanted to change anything, it's super easy just to pull it up and move it. You can see on the back that some of the little blues have started to be pushed through. So that shows it's just lightly felted in. On the back of this one, you can see how much more colour has come through and how many more little hairs are pushed in and locked in. So if I wanted to move it, I could pull it up just now because it's only lightly felted in. But I don't want to move it, so I'm just going to stab these bits back down. Easy. The joy of felting is if you mess up like that, it's so easy just to fix it. Oh, also, we're going to go through a messy stage, and that's fine. It's going to look terrible for a wee while, and you're going to think, oh my god, this is never going to look like the final picture. And then suddenly it'll come together, so do not panic. Okay, so we're now going to work on the hills. So we've done the sky. We're going to come forward a bit onto the hills, and I'm going to use a base of this brown. This is, oh, I got to do it. This is the chocolate brown. I'm just going to lay that covering the whole hill, because again, we're going to build up. Wait, -3 centigrade or Fahrenheit? If you want to pop your hills at a different shape, if you've got specific hills that you like, that's totally fine. These are just the hills that I love. So I'm going to do some nice wiggles there. And a nice wiggle on that one as well. But I'm having them kind of come to a point in the centre. Because it is just such a, like the landscape up there just cannot be described. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm making sure I've got a little dent there. I'm going to put in a dent somewhere there as well. And there's definitely a dent in the centre. Oh, I'm getting squinty. Oh, -3 is cold. It's 6 degrees here today, and that is quite cold enough for me. Again, so we are going to work quite fast putting all the colours down. But I'm going to take a little bit of this colour, which is Moorit, and pop that along the upper edges, essentially, of the hills, because they kind of get a little bit lighter the higher up they go, really. but this is quite a thin layer, so you can still see the darker brown below. And don't worry, we're going to spend a good bit of time later on putting colour into these hills, but I just want to block in the basics. What animals did you see, Robin? I have questions. Right, so that's a very rough and ready hill, and then we're going to go on to the band of trees that's there. So I'm going to start with a colour that is not on my desk. Hold on 1 second. Got it. With the... Oh, hello, Sylvia. We missed you last time. Yes, I'm going to start with the... This is brown or black. And I'm going to do just a line right along the bottom there. This is where like the main, a nice big shadow is going to be at the bottom of the trees. So if we put that in now, it'll just like poke through the green that we're going to add on top. So imagine if you see people. Yeah, I was saying how I was watching your videos and you were keeping me company in the shop. It's excellent. So yes, oh yeah, the nonsense has started. All the troublemakers are currently present, and I blame all of them for what might happen the rest of this stream. Oh, also pop in the comments what you're having for dinner tonight. I know what Mum and Dad are having. Gonna take some of this green. This is Evergreen. And again, I'm going to layer this up. I'm taking little amounts. So it's I'm pulling it quite thin. And I'm going to layer up over the brown we've just put down. I'm still at the moment laying it down horizontally, but in a second we're going to start mixing it up and it's going to get exciting. Oh, the name of the lighter brown was, so there was two. There was this one, which is, oh, hello, Peanut. This one, which is chocolate. And this one, which is Moorit. And Moorit is the actual name of, so on Shetland, this is really exciting. Really exciting for someone that really likes wool. Not for anybody that doesn't like wool. But the Shetland sheep, which are wonderful sheep, all the different colourways have their own names, and you can like get a poster that tells you all the different colourways and all the names of them. And Moorit is the name of this colourway. So this is an undyed colour, and it is gorgeous. So I've used the Evergreen. I'm going to pop into the Hedgerow now, which is a slightly lighter green. And I'm going to now start scrumfling it up. So I've taken just a little bit and I'm scrumfling it so it's slightly messy and all rounded together, and adding that so it creates, so it's not quite covering up the darker green, but it's now starting to create little hills. Ooh, sandwiches are good though. Sometimes you need a good sandwich. Scrumple, scrumple. I'm sorry to hear you're not well. Fingers crossed. Sending all the love. Yes, I was like, since I found your channel now, and I was like, oh, I need to catch you live so that I can actually be the nonsense in your comments. And then the last green I'm going to use at the moment on this band of hills is this one, which is olive green. That's the sort of lighter green, but we're going to use this quite sparingly. So I'm taking just, I don't know, can you even see how much that is? Tiny amount, scrumfle it up, and I'm aiming to just put it across the very tippy toppies of any trees. Of the tree line, essentially. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. The tippy toppies of the tree line. Now don't worry just now, we will be going back over this a few times. But this is us just blocking in the colour, getting the colours where we want it so that we've got a balanced sort of picture to look at when we're finessing it. Okay, so I've got my the top has got the olive, and then we're going to work down again. So we're going to start doing, I'm going to change up this path slightly in this version. I reserve the right to change everything and be completely wrong. So I'm going to take the olive again, I shouldn't have put it away, and do a line of olive just below that black line there, or the dark brown line there. Oh, there's lots of comments. Oh, I cannot read them while I'm trying not to stab my own fingers. Hold on 1 second. And I'm going to take this and I want to wiggle this. So I'm going to attempt to do a wiggly path this time, because the path does wiggle. This was a very, and ended up terribly straight. We want a bit of a wiggle in the path. Oh, and every so often, it's a very good idea to just, two things. Every so often, it's an incredibly good idea to pull this off of the mat. Remind me to do it if I forget. And then give it a, because just now at this stage, you'll see it's really stretchy and you can pull it out of shape quite easily. So just stretch it back into shape, give it a wee pat down. As the more you felt it, you'll start to feel it locking up and it becomes firmer. So that's when you know you've started to, the felting is progressing well. Yes, it's a very good idea to pull it up off the mat, but also to take your frame and just make sure that everything is kind of, so you've gone outside the lines everywhere. It's always better to go outside the lines than to have little gaps that you have to fill in later. So I'm quite happy with that. I wonder if that, yeah, it's about the right size. Oh, lots of comments. Hold on. Give me, chat amongst yourselves. Okay, I'm caught up. Excellent. Fishers sound fun. Although I am imagining like a man in, you know, those welly boot legs that go up to your armpits. So I'm imagining a fisher as one of them, a man wearing a big welly boots up to his armpit walking around behind your house, which is an odd thing to have in my head, I'm not going to lie. Okay. The nonsense is real. I'm going to go back to the chocolate. Look at me being professional. Professional. And I'm going to add, so this is all the, so at this time of year, well, it's starting to go green now a little bit because spring is just starting to come through. But at the moment, like all of the bracken from last year, it's all this beautiful shade of brown down at, I was going to say sea level, down at ground level, down. So this is the like the two bracken and all the heather that's also brown at this time of year. And what else is there? There's bog myrtle up that path as well. There's loads of nice. So in the summer it's a lot greener. But I love it at this time of year. Well, it's all brown. There we go. So we've got everything essentially blocked out. And now we're going to go back in, add detail. But first, before we do that, I'm going to spend 5 minutes with 3 needles and just stab all over to sort of, the more you stab it, the more it kind of locks together and starts to look like a thing, if that makes sense. So I'm just doing a quick all over to get it slightly less fluffy. But again, this is just the beginning. We've got lots of finessing to do. There we go. Okay, now I'm imagining a cat in those welly boots. This is getting weird, but I'm totally fine with it. Okay. Right, I'm going to work a little bit on the hill because we've got to do like where the light is hitting it, put in some shadows. So I'm going to start with the shadows and work lighter. I'm going to take a little bit of the brown, the dark brown, sometimes called brown, sometimes called black. This again is the undyed one. And when I say tiny amount, can you even see the tininess of what I am putting down? I'm even going to half that. I'm going to take where this angle there and follow that as if it's going down. So that's creating a join where that hill goes down and that hill starts. We also have to think about where the light is coming from in this one. So I'm having the light coming in from this angle. So this side of this hill is going to be more in shadow. And this side of this hill is going to be more, get more in light. That's not the right way to put it. So because of this hill kind of goes up there and then there's a wee dip. So this little dip here is also going to be in shadow. So I'm going to take, again, can you even see how small that little bit of fluff that I'm taking? And to put that just coming down on this side of this hill, just to give it a little bit of shadow there as well. And you can, if you want to, I'm going to put scrumful this up again and put a few little bits on that hill, just randomly, and that'll create a few like lumps and bumps. So there's no specific rhyme or reason to these little lumpy bumpy bits, but they'll all look like they're meant to be there in the end. And again, I'm going to do the same, slightly lower down on there, just put some lumpy bumpy bits in. And now I'm going to take this beautiful colour. This is Butterscotch, and this is going to be my highlight. So again, tiny amounts. I'm going to have it just where the sun's going to be kissing the hills. Just right at the edge there and down. Now don't worry if it looks like it's too much. You've got a couple of options and there's a couple of different fun ways to do it. So if you've put too much on, you can either just pull a little bit off or you can layer up on top of it. So layering up is what's going to give you more Peanut just tickled my leg when she rolled over. Layering up is what's going to give you really nice depth and interest in the picture. You can also, am I going to put this colour? No, I'm going to hold off on that colour. I'm going to stick with just these. But I think I'm going to put a bit more of the Moorit on the hill. I love this Moorit for the hill. It just is the colour of the hills. And again, making sure I'm not going. So anything further than that is kind of going to be out of frame, so it's not very important. A little bit of brown, maybe just where the trees. There we go. The trees touch. To make those trees pop a little bit. Again, don't worry, we're still at the messy stage. And we're not going to get... So I may have lied slightly to you earlier on, just so you're not... Oh, Sylvia, Lower Falls. So technically you're standing at Lower Falls. So in this picture, Lower Falls, there's a river we can't see running just there, and Lower Falls is just there. So we're at Lower Falls looking up the glen. There is no falls in this picture, but that is the place that we are standing at. Because this is where I walk the dog, and I just adore standing here and just looking up at these mountains. And it's one of my favourite views. I feel like, especially in the height of summer when it's completely green, I might do it again in the height of summer and do like a comparison. In the height of summer, it's completely green. You feel like you're in Lord of the Rings. It's like that kind of landscape. It's amazing. So I'm going to take a little bit more. I want this to be a little bit. There we go. And then you can put brown on, like put the chocolate on top, and that blends it just beautifully. There we go. Oh, yes, no. So Caledonia, sorry, Lower Falls is in Glen Nevis. So Glen Nevis is like the valley or the glen where Ben Nevis, so Ben Nevis is up this side somewhere. Steel Falls, which we did a couple of months ago, is just there. So if you're going to Steel Falls, you just go essentially round the other side of that hill. Caledonia is the Roman name for the sort of essentially north of Scotland, which is why we're Caledonian Wool Company, because it's Scottish wool. And there's lots of stuff around here named like Caledonian or Caledonia. And we've got the Caledonian Canal up here, which is a canal that runs from Fort William all the way up to Inverness. I got distracted telling you. I got distracted talking about the local scenery because it's so wonderful. So just a little bit north of Stirling. Just a hop, skip and a jump past Stirling. Okay, I'm going to work on some of the trees because I want to get some nice texture. So I'm going to start putting in some essentially bushes and trees. So I'm taking tiny bits of the olive, scrumpling them up in my hand into little bushes and popping them in randomly so it goes over. So just one or two going down like foreground trees. Oh, you should definitely come this far north. It is absolutely wonderful. I'm taking some of the Evergreen and doing the same again. So I'm going to put in some darker trees, just scrumpling it up and popping it in. Because we want a nice sort of random variety of shapes in the trees. How are we doing for time, by the way? What time are we at? Oh, half an hour. Excellent. We are flying through this. We might even be less than an hour tonight. Oh, I did not finish telling you what I've been lying to you about. I am so sorry. Okay, we are not technically going to get this finished in an hour. I know, it's the end of the world. I'm so sorry. What I like to do is get all of the colours in, get all of the most of the finer details in this hour tonight, but don't call it finished yet. So at the end of the hour, I want you to just put it away for a day or two, and then come back in a day or two with fresh eyes and see anything that you might like to change. What I really like doing as well is because you're looking at it for so long, your eyes get really used to it and can't see kind of what could make it pop. So I like to take a photograph of it, look at it in the photograph, because that also changes the way you see it. Or send a photo to someone if you're feeling brave and get them to give you criticism. Or not criticism, but suggestions. So I always send it to mum and dad and go, what's missing? What do you think's not working? and what on earth do you think you're looking at? Sometimes they have no idea what I'm trying to design and get really confused. But then we work through it. Got distracted. Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of brown and put in some darker ones there. Yeah, so don't worry at this stage. It's not going to look complete. But go away for the night, come back with fresh eyes in a couple of days, and just have a really good stab all over for about maybe 10-15 minutes. Just literally like this. If you can hold a couple of needles together and just stabbing all over for about 10-15 minutes, and you'll see it all really nicely starts to felt together, and you'll start to see any bits that you might want to change, but that's when it properly comes together. But tonight we're just going to get all the colours in. Right, so next colour I've completely forgotten and entirely haven't worked on. Oh, lights out. Do I turn them? Nah, it's fine. Yeah, you can see it fine. We don't need those lights on. I don't know what's wrong with them. They seem to power off after a certain amount of time. I'm going to put in the path with some greys. So this grey is just grey. I'm going to take a little bit of that and run it. So going narrower as it goes into the distance and getting wider there. But it doesn't have to be a perfect path. It's not going to be a perfect path. There we go. So, I don't know if that's showing up as well on camera as it is in real life, but that's a lovely wee path there. And I'm going to now work on these brackeny areas. I'm going to call them the brackeny areas. Yeah, do I have a felty ghost? I mean, it's entirely possible. This ghost really enjoys felting, has decided that my lighting situation is not up to par and is changing it for me. I'm taking, again, tiny bits of the dark brown black, and I'm going to just outline really lightly the edge of the bracken. Now we're going to go over it again because we don't want it to look like there's like a dark black line around it, but we do want the edge to be sort of slightly shadowed, because again, if the light's coming down at this angle, to make this look like there's a little bit of height, you have to have a darker edge there. And I'm going to take some of the darkest green, the Evergreen, and put that just along the grassy side of the grassy side of the grassy bit. So that's creating a little shadow in there. Also going to, while I'm at it, take a tiny bit more of the brown, and again put that just, you can see, along both sides of the path to give it a little bit of shadow again, to make it look like the centre of the path is the most used bit, and then it gets darker on the outside. Again, I'm going to put the browns on this side. I know this side's going to be more in light, but there's still going to be darker bits further down. Oh, excellent. I will keep an eye on for the videos, Robin. Coming back to it, because you get like really focused on what you're doing, and you can't essentially see the bigger picture anymore sometimes. So it's really, really handy to come back, and then you're like, that's what's missing, of course, duh. Right, and now in this the brackeny bit, we're going to put in some light colours as well and some patches of green. So I'm going to take the Butterscotch again. Yep, the snow's got a couple more months surely of. So for the Butterscotch, I'm scrumpling it this time and then adding it in. Now don't worry if it looks too solid and looks a bit weird, because I'm going to scrumple some of the chocolate and put it on top, so it's like scrumpled layers, and that just creates all these little natural scrumfles. Okay, woofs. We need to have a discussion on woofs, or woofins as to give them their proper name. Okay, so I don't know how much snow. We had a little bit of snow recently again, and it's getting a little bit icy again just now. So, the discussion on sending pictures to someone else to have a look at, I sent it to Mum and Dad, and Mum I hadn't put that little bit in there, and it looked really. I couldn't see I'd missed it, but Mum did, and she's like, "Oh, you need to put a wee woofin of dark there to distinguish it." And I obviously know what a woofin is. Is it just a word in our family, or does anybody else know what I mean when I say a woofin, or a woof, or woofs? That is the important question of the night, and I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm not going to tell you till the end, so stick around to the end. No, I'll tell you in a minute. Oh, but I hate this bit. If you could possibly do the likey and subscribey things. So if you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and do all the YouTubey things, I would be very grateful. We also have our Facebook group where people post their finished pictures, or just any felted pictures. Yes, Robin has got it straight on, dead on. So like that would be a little woofing, just a tiny bit. Or if you like, when you haven't swept your wooden floor in a wee while and there's like little balls of fluff everywhere, you'd say there's like little woofins everywhere. But apparently Mum was Googling it. They're being very quiet in the comments. I think they're eating their dinner. And it wasn't coming up anywhere online. So it could be it's possibly a Scots word. Like uxters and tapalat and all these things. So a little woofin of chocolate brown. So I'm layering up the light colour with a bit of the brown on top, and this is going to create this like mottled, lovely. Okay, so I'm going to take it. It's either a Scots word or it's just a family word. But from now on, it's going to be woofin. Woofins all the way. So this is not quite as strong as I want it to be. I want that to look. I'm going to put some more dark. Yeah, you can see there is a lot darker than what I've got just now. So I'm going to do some scrumpled dark woofins along this line. See, you come here for felting and you get educated on Scottish words. Okay, Mum has just I take it all back. Possibly a Yorkshire word from her gran. I'm going to have to find some Yorkshire. Wait, how far south are you, Sylvia? Some Yorkshire people to confirm or deny the knowledge of woofins. That's better. That's a little bit. So it's not straight. Let's straighten it up. Give it a nice wee pat. What is missing? I think I need to do more in this green bit here. Buffalo hair, yes. That would be pretty epic. So I'm scrumpling up some green to put it in there, because that's looking a bit bare. Oh yeah, I was going to put some more greeny bits in there. Just touches of green, like a little patch of green where there is some brown missing. There we go. Okay, Mum, I think it might be Scottish. Or just our family. So I don't know if you spotted, every so often, at this stage especially, you can kind of pull stuff and shift stuff about if you're not quite happy with its location. That's looking... Right, so now is a good time. Only 44 years. Yeah, you're definitely a newbie. So let's show you how to use the frame. Yeah, thingy works. So with the frame, you've got an inside loop and an outside loop. So to separate them, you just want to unscrew this little screw until it is almost almost at the end there, so it's still attached but just right at the end, and the inside should come out. What you're going to do is move your felt mat. You always want to do this on a hard surface. Pop that onto the loop and then feel, so I'm feeling where the hoop is and trying to place it where I want it. Then all I'm going to do is pop, I want that to be a little bit further that way. Oop. Pop that there and then move it into there. And then have a look and see are there any bits missing. So a lot of times when this happens, it opens up little gaps. So I see that I need to put some more blue in there, a little bit there, and a little bit there. But overall I'm happy with the layout. I'm happy with the colour. This needs, I'll straighten this up a little bit. But I'm pretty happy. Obviously we're going to still work on it for, what time are we at? We've got 10 more minutes. So 10 more minutes of stabbing all over and putting in little bits of colour. But it's getting there. And so once we've finished for tonight, and then you come back in a couple of days, do a good stab all over, and you're happy with how it is, pop it in the frame, you're really happy with it. To finish it off, all you're doing is tightening that right up, and then just take a pair of scissors and chop all this excess off. I will grab an example if I have one handy. Apparently not. I would grab an example, but I've tidied my office recently and I've no idea where I put them of a finished one. But just imagine, use the power of your imagination, that you've taken scissors and you have chopped this all off. And then it looks a little something like that. But I'm going to do a bit more felting all over before we're at that stage. And Peanut has given up on her bed and is now lying on the floor, if anybody wanted a Peanut update. Apparently, I have a winter dog and it's too warm for her in this 10-degree office that I'm currently sitting in. I'm sorry, 12 degrees. 12-degree office I'm sitting in. Yeah, it feels like every time I drive up, occasionally, like it's a... How long? I want to say it's like a 5-mile drive from Fort William all the way up the length of the glen. And you just feel like, even now, thinking about it, I'm getting shivers. You just feel like you're in Lord of the Rings country. Or sometimes, if I'm... yeah, hang it from the screw. So so that makes it just super easy, just like a nail on the wall, a command hook on the wall, some kind of hook, and then just hang it off there. Super easy. Oh yeah, sorry, and driving up Glen Iris, it's either Lord of the Rings, or sometimes it's Jurassic Park, and then I get stuck singing the Jurassic Park theme tune in my head the whole time. I'm just making sure I'm going into the bits where I saw that there was gaps and filling them in. I think I might put a little bit more fluffy clouds. Oh, Peanut has entirely given up and wandered off somewhere else. I'm going to put in a little bit more fluffy cloud, just slightly lower down. To give it a bit of movement. And a layer of lighter, blue, the wave there. At this point you don't have to listen to what I'm doing. You can just yeah, it's so fun, isn't it? Like those prehistoric landscapes are just wonderful to explore. Adding a little bit more of the brown there to pull out that darkness. There we go, that's better. And I think I even want to add a little bit more light. A little bit more of the butterscotch. So today, you will be impressed with me. Peanut has already had her tea. We went out for our usual ball chucking in the park straight after work. And I was organised this morning because I knew we weren't going straight home, and brought her dinner into the shop with us. So she's had her tea. I had my tea. I had it, don't tell anybody, but in the last half hour of work I was getting a tad peckish. So made my dinner and had it in the last half hour. It was quiet this afternoon, it's fine. If a customer came in I would have ignored my tea and, gone and served them. So we're both fed. Oh, I would say that. Is that too dark? So I have options now. So this is like the you can do it yourself stage. I could pull that off. I could add some lighter on top. I'm going to try adding some lighter on top because I still want that to be dark, but just not quite as dark as it is. I'm adding a tiny whiff in. And that just pulls it up just that little bit. There we go. Nice. Yep, happy with that. So I know earlier I said don't bend the needle, but you can angle it at different angles, which will move the felt in different ways. Okay, so I know for once I was organised. It's a very rare occasion. I'm going to do the next 5 minutes of just stabbing all over and not adding anything else because I think we're getting pretty close. How is everybody, who is felting along with me today? How is it going for them? I know, Morgan, you should have got a extra special kit this month. Oh, hello, baby. Hello. Oh, we have stretches and yawns. You got big stretches. And you want to come and join? You coming up? Come here. Oh, no, apparently not. Just wants some fuss and attention. She's like, the hour is almost... Yeah, she's right. We've got 5 minutes left. And then it's home time for snuggles. I mean, I wouldn't be impressed. It was literally a baked potato done in the microwave. But can you see? I don't know if you can see if it's coming up on camera as much as it is in real life, but as I'm felting, it kind of intensifies. Does that make sense? And it just pulls it together. Because I know it doesn't quite show up on camera as it is in real life, because that's just the nature of... Oh, no, that's not allowed on the floor. Peanut will eat that. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, I know, normally I save it till after. But also I may have to confess that although I was organised and had my dinner, I forgot to eat lunch today. So that might be why dinner was so early. No, it wasn't that I forgot to eat lunch, but I had a very late brunch. Oh, I've also got terrible, terrible news for everybody. I'm so sorry. I was wondering the other day why Peanut was being so quiet and well behaved, and looked down to see a shredded hermit crab. She had managed to get into the box and of finished felted things, and decided that hermit crab was the tastiest thing in the world. And to be fair, and what she's playing with right now, so little felt balls that you can like do them in the washing machine, and they're just round balls of felt. I give her as balls to play with in the shop. She just throws them about, has a great time. So in her mind, felted things she's allowed to play with, and most of the time she is, but but she found hermit crab, and don't worry, I had two, but one of them is now a slightly chewed up hermit crab and it needs to go in a new home. It was my own fault. It's not her fault. I feel like there's a storybook in there. The Peanut and the Crab. Okay, I am going to call... Yeah, before Peanut destroys anything else, I'm going to call this finished for tonight. And I'm going to come back in a couple of days, probably tomorrow in fact, and add some more detail, give it a good 10-minute felting all over. But to finish it off, I'm going to pull it off, wiggle it so it's all nice and straight. I can hear you, Peanut. Hello. Yep, I need to rescue my dog from the things that she is wanting to destroy. Or rescue the things from my dog. So for a little final parting shot. There we go. Lower Falls, or looking up Glen Nevis from Lower Falls. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for keeping me company for the hour and felting along with me. It's been wonderful as always. What are we doing? Oh, in 2 weeks' time we are doing either... Excuse me 1 second. Got her. We're doing either... There's a Peanut. Highland Cow, 3D Highland Cow or 3D Thistle. I haven't decided which one yet. That is the plan. Who's that? Can you look up? Can you see? What's this? Oh, there she is. Yeah, she is officially a table dog, so it's perfectly normal. But yes, I will see you in 2 weeks 2 weeks on Friday at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining me, my squishies. Remember and like and subscribe. Do all the YouTubey things. I've acquired a peanut. Have a lovely night. Thank you.